Hello, this is a podcast for International Men's Day. I'm Ben, I'm here with, if everyone wants to introduce themselves, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Martin, I'm one of the sociology teachers at St David's College.
Yeah, and I'm Kojo, I'm an esports teacher at the college.
Hello everyone, my name's Kane and I'm the Learner Formation Lead here at St David's College.
Hi, I'm Ahmed and I'm an Upper 6 student at St David's College.
I'm Gerd, I'm the principal.
So we got all the big dogs here, and me and Ahmed. I'm going to be chairing this. It won't be particularly formal. As I said beforehand, my qualifications include the fact that I'm a man and can talk. I don't have any special sort of requirements, and indeed there is none. One thing I did just want to make clear is that everybody here is an individual, first and a man, second. We're not claiming to represent men as a whole or anything. We're just going to give our experiences and chat a little bit. The first topic I have on my list is the sort of daunting one of men's mental health. So we'll go around and talk about it. I think a possible question might be, is there a men's mental health epidemic, like is suggested on various places online? Does it have to do with being intrinsically male, or is it something separate that men just happen to come across, like everybody?
Well, I think on that topic, I do believe that men and women all suffer from mental health episodes and issues at times. I think that society has not allowed men to display their emotions positively when it comes to struggles around mental health. There is a sort of a fear for men to be vulnerable to themselves, to their friends, to their families. They are seen to be the dominant figure, particularly in a male environment or in a household where they are the caregiver or the provider for a family, and it's very much a taboo for them to be vulnerable when they are struggling with their mental health.
Indeed, it comes from a sort of stigma of a societal norm of how men should act, in quotation marks.
Well, I would say that there is a crisis of mental health, both for men and women. There is a mental health problem due to the reasons of just being a human. And I suppose the reason that we have such a distinction between men's mental health and women's mental health is because the problems that are, like problems in mental health, that women have generally are caused by them being a woman itself. But for us, it's just, we do have a mental problem crisis, but I don't see any problems that are a consequence of us being a male. And if there is some, I can't see it that highlighted compared to females.
I'm going to slightly disagree with it.
Go ahead, yes.
So I think there's a crisis of masculinity. I think we've got a crisis of what does it mean to be a man. I think society has...
That's one of the questions I got on here.
I think that is the case. I think society needs to look at this again. I think for a long time it's been something that's been forgotten about. We've had a really positive, radical vision for femininity. With feminism, we haven't had that same revolution for men. We still expect men to conform to a particular stereotype in society, and we've not actually encouraged them to consider other ways of life. We haven't considered them. For example, one of the questions I know we were talking about later would be, why aren't so many men becoming nurses? Well, we haven't had that sort of broad view of what it means to be a man in the future, really. The result is that I think a lot of men have lost their purpose, and that is why they're struggling with that, and they're struggling to see their place in the world. And as a result, you get many people turn to drugs, and you get many turn into suicide. And the data shows, and this is where I'm going to disagree with you, is that the data shows that men, boys, are much more likely to die from suicide than women. So there's some, I don't know what the full reason for they are, but it's something that we need to definitely look at.
Yeah, I think I'd like to add to that as well. I think, and I'd be interested to know your points of views as well, lads. As a generational thing, as far as I'm concerned, like a lot of people, older men, the way they've been brought up is to man up, don't cry, get over it, get on with it. I certainly had that, nothing against my parents, but I had to just chin up, get on with it. And I think over the years we've just built up that sort of idea that, you know, you've just got to get on with it, and these emotions are kept inside and they're built up, bottled up, and that would link to what you were saying, Aaron, about, you know, men taking their own lives because they don't know how to channel it, because all they've been told is to hush up and get on with it. So I'd be interested to know, from your point of view, in terms of like mental health, do you feel like more comfortable opening up? Because I know from an older perspective, I don't, and I think I'm quite interested about that, so I don't know if you have anything to add.
I think, sorry, you go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I'll come in there. So I think we're perhaps in a generation where you said, you know, our fathers were pretty much, you know, let's be men. Us, we're in the middle, and we've got the generation below coming up who are experiencing the new way of. So we're kind of a bit of a hybrid almost, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I understand how you feel. I feel, you know, it's hard to sometimes show your emotions or open up, talk to other people about perhaps your problems. But then you also want to be a good role model for perhaps, you know, if you've got children, or if you know, as being a teacher to the youngsters coming up. So it's a difficult place to be in. And then I do feel that the support out there for men is a bit more taboo. It's not somewhere which I would, you know, I would know where to go if I wanted to speak to somebody, or I feel that you know, there's a lot out there for women. It's in your face almost, but for men it's not in your face. And I think that's quite a big factor. You can even look, you know, inside the college here. I'm going to say this, you know, it's more of a, if you go to the well-being area, it's I guess more, it's all female staff. It's a bit more inclined for females to go there rather than males. So it's, again, it's having those places where you can go, where men do feel comfortable to go and speak or to show emotion. But I think, yeah, that the point you raise about we've seen how it is, and we're almost like expected to change because the world is now changing, but we're stuck in the middle, so it's really hard, really difficult.
I think you're right. You know, we're looking at what's going on right now with the learners that come to St David's right now. We record data about who accesses wellbeing services, counselling. We're seeing majority females accessing wellbeing, and we're seeing hardly any males, you know, taking up counselling, for example. So again, that there's something that's blocking that from happening, or something that's making boys feel that isn't a service for them, or reluctant to do it. I don't know whether you two have got a thought on that.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
I think maybe you guys experience this as well, but certainly I know I do, is that the sort of formation of a male friend group is not one where you go and talk to your friends. Of course, I'm not sure exactly what the formation of a female friend group is in that regard, but you're not really expected or entitled to indeed talk to your friend about these issues. It's a bit of a taboo, you know. I feel like I'd rather work it out myself, and perhaps it's a bit of a stoic nature, but work it out myself rather than plague anyone else with it, which I think is a fairly common thing our generation
Yes,
feels.
I mean, I would say the same, like when I feel sort of relatively depressed or, you know, upset because of anything, like exams, etc. I don't remember myself going to my friends and saying, you know, I'm extremely depressed and, you know, let's talk about this. I'd rather just, you know, talk about normal stuff and, you know, have fun with them to deal with my depression in one way. But in general, I would also say that I try to deal with it myself, and so far has worked for me, and I would hope that it will work in the future as well. But yeah,